Engineering students, this is a short review on how to create a puzzle cube piece in Autodesk Inventor 2014. The puzzle cube piece that I'm going to create, I could create any one of these. For example, let me see here, I'm going to select this green one right here. If I look closely at it, it's going to be 3 cubes wide, it is 2 cubes high, and 2 cubes deep. When I start and I want to create any kind of cube, I'm always going to select a new. This little box comes up and I'm going to select standard.ipt. It is a part file, and I'm going to click create. Now it'll take a little bit to go ahead and load the environment. For you it might take longer or shorter depending on the time. Once it is loaded, you'll see the view cube here in the upper right hand corner. It'll say front, and the first thing we want to do is we want to create a sketch. Now we want to sketch on the plane that's going to be easiest for us to create this part. So for example, I think what's going to be easier is to actually create this L shape that's kind of down on its side, and then I'll create this cube at the end to add on to it. So I'm going to actually sketch on the front view of this object. And remember, we always start from the origin. So I'm going to select my line. I'm going to click here, and you can see I can just rotate all around. Well, I'm going to go at 0 degrees and 3 cubes, well, they're 3/4 inch a piece, so that is going to give me 2.25 in length. So 2.25 inches. I can use the mouse wheel to zoom out, and now I'm going to go up 2 cubes, and that is going to be 0.75 times 2, which will be 1.5. It is 1 cube over, which is 0.75. It is 1 cube down, 0.75. And then I'm going to just bring this all the way back here and then back to the origin. So once I'm done, I'm just going to go ahead and right click, and I'm going to select OK. Now what I want to check before I move on, this is something we talked about, you always want to make sure that your sketch is fully constrained. So right here it does say fully constrained. To give you an example, if I delete that, it would say okay, 1 dimension needed, and it would tell us that there is a dimension on here that we need to define. In this case, something with this black line. You can see all the other ones are blue, this one's black, so it's saying there's something up with this line that's not dimensioned. It might not be the actual length of the line, but it could be where that line is. So like I said, I could just dimension this line to say this point, click 0.75, hit OK, and it's fully constrained. I could even do give you an example, another dimension. I could say from the bottom to this line 0.75, and that would also fully constrain it. So you can see it's not always the length of the line that it needs, but it might need to know where that line is in relation to the origin. So that's fully constrained. I'm ready to move on. So I'm going to go to the upper right hand corner, and I'm going to select Finish Sketch, and it will go into an isometric view for me. I can pan by holding down the mouse wheel and moving this around, so that's always easier. If it's kind of off the page, you can just click down on the mouse wheel and hold, and you can pan right over. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it depth. So if I go back to my sheet, I have the L shape, and now I'm going to give it a little bit of depth. So it comes out one box. That L shape comes out one box, which is going to be 0.75. So I'm going to click Extrude, and you can see here it automatically selects the profile for me. Then under the distance, I'm going to go 0.75. I'm going to hit OK. And now I have part of my cube, so I can kind of turn it to the way it looks here. And then finally, I'm going to create one last cube here. So to do that, I'm going to place that cube right here. To create anything like that, I always need to start with a sketch. So I'm going to select Sketch, and the cube's going to be on this face, so I'm going to select this face. I'm going to grab the rectangle command, and I'm going to make a rectangle from here to here. And now I already know that going from this corner to that corner is going to be 0.75, 0.75. You could draw lines and do that if you want, but the rectangle command is a little bit easier. Right click OK, and it's also fully constrained because I went from one point to another, so it knows exactly where it is. I'm going to select Finish Sketch. I'm going to select Extrude. And now I have 3 different boxes now because I put these lines there that I can select from. So now I have to select the correct profile. I want to select this profile right here. Want to bring it out 0.75. It always remembers my last extrude. You can change that, but in this case we want it at 0.75. I click OK, and I now have my cube. Last thing, this is a green cube, so if I wanted to apply some color, I can go up here. I can select this letter color wheel. I'm going to highlight. I gotta do a little better job. I'm going to highlight this entire structure, and I'm going to select a green color here. So I'll just go off to the side here, click it right over there, hit OK. And now I have my green cube. And so there is basically my green cube. I can use the view cube to look around it. You can see that even the Inventor program creates tonal shading for you. And there is a quick review on how to create a basic part. Remember, always try to make the biggest shape first, an easy shape. Always start from the origin and make sure it's fully constrained.